people see like this like vintage wall back here and this brick wall. They don't know that we are in the attic of a 100-year-old building.
Yeah.
It's 120 degrees. You know, we have a little window air conditioning unit to try to keep this tiny attic room cool, and it is cordoned off by moving blankets.
Yeah, that's our sound shield. It says 65 on the.
That's what it said. Yeah. The little window unit is set on 65. I can promise you it's not 65 degrees in here. Welcome to the 3PX show. Welcome back. And if you're wondering, people who are watching right now really have no idea because they're like, oh, it's another episode 2 weeks later. But we were just here 2 days ago, weren't we?
Yes, we were.
I feel like we probably shouldn't talk about that because I won't mention any names, but he produces the show. I think he already feels really bad about it.
Does he?
Yeah. But
starts with a Q.
If you're wondering if it's possible to burn up an SSD, which I'm not even sure what that is. I think that's like a
memory
solid.
card.
Is that a solid state drive? Is that what it stands for?
Yeah.
Check me out. Apparently those things get really hot when you're rendering and editing and stuff. And if you're not paying attention, you can destroy it.
Yeah. You can burn it up is what you're saying.
You can burn it up.
Yeah.
And then according to your producer, there's a 51% chance
that you may not get it back. It's 49% that you might get it back. So
it's so bad.
It's such a greater percentage.
Yes. But you know what? Because I'm not mad at all, I promise. I'm just giving he who shall not be named a hard time. But we really enjoy this. So it's okay. It's okay.
We're just talking.
Those were good episodes though.
They were. Man.
Hopefully we get it back.
Yeah.
These will be like the lost episodes. When we do get the SSD back and we can publish it, these will be the lost episodes.
That's actually how you do it too. That's what you say. Hey, the lost episodes.
Yeah. It's like years and years down the road, like after like we're dead and gone, somebody's going to find this burned out SSD in the trash somewhere and they're going to be able to recover it. And then they're going to be like, these are the lost episodes of Wayne and Steve.
Yeah. They're going to also say, you know what? I bet back in those days, they probably had a 51% chance that they would never get them and a 49% chance that they would. But with our technology today, we had a 100% chance to recover.
That's right.
Them. So that, you know, it might be the lost episodes.
I don't even remember what we talked about in those episodes, but
I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Well, enough of that. But it is great to be here. We love doing this. It's a great outlet for us. And hopefully, if you're listening to this, you enjoy listening. And so, you know, we've always got content and episodes in the pipeline. I think we've probably got 5 years worth of episodes and stuff to talk about. But so yesterday when I was pulling it together, I was like, oh, let's talk about these things. And then like just this morning, I'm like, I don't want to talk about any of that. But you know what prompted that is a conversation that I had yesterday really got me thinking about this. So I was talking to somebody and he's making a transition in his life. Yep. And he's very close to us and he's making transition, making a career jump. And this is someone that is highly trusted. He's very good at what he does. So, you know, making this career move, this is a big deal, a big deal. And, you know, so I'm happy for him. I'm celebrating and, you know, even though it's a loss for our business because he's been such a great partner. And I asked him, I said, how many people do you have in your life that you can call on when something amazing happens to you and you just want someone to celebrate with? You know?
Yeah.
Because you don't want somebody to think that you're trying to make them feel bad or you're rubbing it in their face, right? But just somebody that you know you could celebrate with.
That genuinely cares about you and what it means.
And he's like, I really don't have anybody. And I know, like it hits, right?
It does.
And I said, let me be that person for you.
Yeah.
You know, you're such an awesome guy. You know so much. You've been such a great partner. You're going on to do some really amazing, cool things.
Yeah.
When something great happens to you, can you call me and let me just celebrate with you? We need people in our lives like that.
Man, 100%.
You know? And
that will truly celebrate with you.
Yeah.
Not just, oh, well, yeah, they're just bragging and doing all that. No, dude, we're so excited that happens for them or whoever it is. That's what you want. You want somebody that will truly celebrate no matter the win, what kind it is, all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you don't want to tell people things because you know how you feel like you're going to be judged because you're celebrating and it didn't include them or however, and it's not that, and there's not a genuineness to it. And so when you can't find that person, dude, it means so much.
Yeah. We got plenty of people that we could complain to because, they want to hear all the bad stuff that you're going through because it makes them feel better about the stuff they're going through.
Right? Yeah.
But thankfully in my life, I probably have about 5 people because you don't need a lot. I don't think I could have a lot of faith if I tried, but I got 5 people in my life that I wouldn't think twice if for the amazing things that happen to me or to our family that I could call and say, you won't believe what just happened.
Yeah.
I want to tell you about it. And they'll be genuinely happy and celebrate.
Excited about it.
Yes.
And you can feel the joy when they're talking about it too.
Yeah. And what's even better is some of that, like we're in different stages of life, right? But they don't compare themselves to us to them, and any of that kind of stuff. None of that matters. It's just they love us, we love them, and whoever, that kind of thing. So, but the flip side to that is before that something great even happens, there's a lot of like tough decisions and you got to choose a direction. Do I do this or do I do that? And if you don't have that spouse or partner or friend in your life that you trust enough to share what you're going through, what's happening, and that's going to support you, you're sunk. And it made me think, we all have these stories, but yours in particular, I think is worth highlighting in that you're working for this company. You moved to Nashville, you're working for this company, and they're starting to go under. They don't have the cash to sustain. And you're like, dude, I can do this. And you got to make a decision. Running low on cash, credit card debt is maxed out. They can't afford to pay you. And you have to make a decision. Do I go to work at Best Buy or wherever, or do we try to do this on our own? And that decision hinged on the conversation that you had with your wife, Stephanie. Like, you got to tell us about that time, going through that, how you're feeling, and then having to sit down across from your wife and say, this is what's happening. What do you think?
Yeah, dude, you're talking about, you just said an emotional roller coaster all the way around. Because when you're going through it, your whole thing, your whole concept, because we had 3 young kids at the time. I guess they were, our oldest ones were in high school and stuff. But, that's a difficult time because they're getting ready to go to college, right? Catherine, I think, was 11th grade. And so she was getting ready to go to college in another year. Like I said, we didn't have any money at the point. At the time, because we cashed Stephanie's 401k, and it was $5,000 of cash after all the penalties and interest and credit card debt. So it was it's kind of that sink or swim. No was not in our vocabulary. That was one of the things is just how do we do this? But when you go and you trying to figure out what the best thing to do is the first thing you got to do is I've got to put food on the table. I got to pay our mortgage. I got to make sure we have a place to live. We got cars to drive to get back and forth to work, but how are we going to continue to put food on the table? And my thought is okay, I'm wanting to, this company over here that we're working with that I've helped start, they got a different business that I'm helping run, but we started the door business with them, and they didn't have the money to do it, and they're not succeeding with where they are. I didn't have time to help build that up. So it's not even a proving ground. So it's still open in the air. It's like, okay, what do you continue to do? And, so I'm out looking for a job, like you just said, because that's my first thing is I'm looking for a job doing this, and as a wife, you want your wife, your wife is your best friend, and that's how it needs to be. And so Stephanie and I, we've always had a great relationship, but she's like any other wife. She wants that security and wants to make sure that everything is okay. And so I'm looking for a job while I'm still moving along and stuff. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I think I can do this. I think I can make this work. We just got to do it a different way. And plus, we're gonna build it. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do it for someone else. Why not do it for ourselves? If they can do it on a shoestring budget, why can't we do it on that? And so I finally got the courage, the nerve to go up and talk to her and say, "Honey, this is what I'm thinking. I think I think we should do it ourselves. If they can do it on a shoestring budget, our shoestrings are about the same size theirs was. And so it wasn't very much ratty. And so I talked to her about it. So I think we can do it. I've got the connections, the vendor, the customer. What do you think? She sat back and thought about it for a little bit, because this was one of those where you don't have a lot of time to think about it. It was, a yes or no type of thing. And
bills are coming. They haven't stopped.
And she's like, let's. I feel good about that. I think we should do it. And man, when she did that, it was like all the pressure just fell off, because I felt like I had this mountain of stress and pressure that was on my shoulders to carry this. And she said, if I need, I'll get a job while the kids are in school, and that way I can still be home when they come home from school. And so that'll help things. And so she did that. And, but she's like, let's do it. If you feel good about it, think that we can do it, then let's do it. And, man, all that pressure, all that stress just totally fell off. And I felt like a bull in a china shop. I was just ready to run through it, and whatever got in my way, I was gonna move and just keep going. And you can't listen to the negativity either that's around you, because I had friends that I went and talked to them, and I had a little bit of a business plan, but not a great one. But hey, this is what I'm going to do. Man, that's a terrible idea. You shouldn't do that. You don't have the money. You don't have this. You don't have that. And so I could have listened to that negativity, because that's always going to be around you. There's always going to be people that are in or out of your life that are going to say, man, that's just not a good idea. And those are the ones that, they'll move along life and not really do anything with their life. And they're great people, but sometimes you can't listen to that negativity, and you just got to feel, I felt it in my heart. I knew, and with Stephanie's confidence behind me, I feel like I couldn't lose at that point, because she was that rock that I needed. The same thing happened here recently when we were looking at buying the building that we just signed for yesterday. And, we'll close it out today. And it took her a minute to get on board with it, but as soon as she got on board, I knew that was the right thing to do. And at that point, now it's us together making that decision. So having her beside me and behind me to help move that direction, move forward with it, that's the best thing you can have. If you have a godly wife that can help you and move forward with it, she's just been my rock the whole way through.
How different would your life have been today if you did not have a spouse or a partner? Everybody's in a different situation: husband, wife, friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, partner, whatever. But if you didn't have a spouse who said, you know what, I believe in you and we can do this and I support you, how different would your life be today?
We wouldn't be sitting up here having a podcast. This company wouldn't be sitting here growing like it's growing.
You might be at 84 Lumber, slinging 2x4s.
Selling doors, doing something else.
Yeah.
Selling doors, making money for somebody else.
But having someone in your life that supports you will make all the difference.
That's such a true statement. Will make all the difference. It's action. And to go back to, what you're saying a second ago, I was thinking action is greater than words, right?
Yes.
And that's the same way with spouse. I mean, the action, her just being able to stand behind me and just give me that confirmation that she's on board, gave me all the drive, all the everything that I needed to make that next move and just to keep moving, not knowing what the next day is going to be, because we didn't have any money. And so I had to buy inventory, had to buy different things. And so we didn't know where that next dollar was coming from. But brother, I can tell you right now, I was working as hard as I could to do everything to make money, to put food on the table, because we started off just selling to lumber yards. We didn't start the online until another year and a half or so. So that didn't start clicking until, we were already making some money, and we already had some customers. So we started turning really, really quick. I remember going to one of my biggest vendors that I had back in those days, and I wanted to get opened up with them. And when I went to them, I said, "Hey, can we have lunch?" And he was like, "Yeah, let's go to lunch." And so we went to lunch and we started talking, and it got down to asking to get opened up as a vendor. And it's like, "Hey, I really wanted to have lunch with you and just talk, and I need to get opened up, and so I can start buying from you, so I can do the business." And he started laughing for a second. He looked at me and says, "Man, I thought you were going to ask for a job, and I didn't have a job for you." And he's like, "You were great." I was like, "Dude, I appreciate it. Just open me up. That's all I need you to do." But it's just that context of, of building those relationships, but having somebody that believed in what we were doing. Not only my wife did, but, I had the vendors that, I was able to, over the years, they, build trust with them and do that. So just having people behind you that can help you have that success. I still have a great relationship with that person today, and they'll come by and call on us from time to time, and super excited for where we are and happy, and you need those type of people in your life that can help pour into you. And so, like Joe, and we were talking about him a minute ago, you got to have those people. And so I'm glad you talked to him and said, hey, I'll be that person. I want to help celebrate your wins, because that's so important, so.
When I look back on, let's just say I haven't always had someone in my life like Landy, that is so supportive. Okay. And it just makes me think of how many people are in that situation, whether you're a man or a woman. It doesn't matter if you're trying to climb the ladder of success. If you don't have that spouse or partner that's supporting you, you better run.
Yeah.
I am not an advocate for divorce. I promise you. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. That's the last thing. You got to give people an opportunity to change, and that goes to like something I wrote down this morning. Maybe we'll talk about it, maybe not. But if you communicate to your spouse that I don't feel like you support what I want to do, I don't feel like you have my back with my dreams and all that, I just don't feel that from you. You cannot stay in that relationship.
Yeah.
That is never going to change. And you are always like the pressure that you felt in leading up to talking to Stephanie, that pressure of the weight you said on your shoulders, trying to make things happen. You were carrying the weight of the entire family and all that. If you weren't able to talk to her, or if she didn't support you, you would have either A, not been able to stay in that situation, or B, it would have completely changed the trajectory of your life. And I think people make that sacrifice every single day, unintentionally, but they're staying in relationships and they're staying with people who don't support their dreams, not just with words, with actions. Because you said, Stephanie didn't say, hey, let's do this. She said, hey, you know what I can do? I can find a job while the kids are at work. That way I can be home when they get out of school, and like we can do this. Like I got your back. She didn't just tell you she supported you. Like she said, let's hold hands. I'm in this with you. And she helped.
Yeah, 100%. And what a lot of people are scared of sometimes too, or what holds them back, is they never have that conversation with their spouse, right? That's one of the worst things that you can do is not have that conversation. And sometimes it's easier just to be quiet about. And your spouse is thinking one thing, thinking, I wish they would do something. I would support and I would do this, but it shouldn't be me having to come. And then the other spouse is thinking this other thing. And if they just had that conversation, it may change the whole trajectory of where they're going and how they're going to do it, right?
Especially as, not to stereotype us guys here, but especially as guys, as men, that's the last thing we want to do is go to our spouse or go, to a friend or whatever and say, I'm struggling with something. So Quentin real time, and that is the single greatest contributor to human success or failure is the ability to adequately communicate feelings to another human being. Now, really the easiest of those feelings to communicate should be, I need help. I just need help with something. Here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? Or I'm struggling with this. I need help. But people's inability to communicate, I am feeling this way. I'm feeling this pressure, or I have these issues going on. I need help with this thing. I'm trying to make a decision, and I feel like I need some guidance. The inability to be able to get with someone that you love, trust, and respect and share that feeling with them will hold people back from success, and they will continue to fail because they cannot adequately communicate how they're feeling in their time of need. And that's what you did with Stephanie.
That is by far the biggest struggle out of this world, is just admitting that you need help. It's like asking for directions when you're driving. I mean, for most men or whoever, if you get out and you're driving and you get lost, I want you to stop and ask for directions. But guess what? We want to just keep going and keep doing, and we don't ask for directions. And and it's asking for help. There's nothing wrong with it. But a lot of people, especially in the business and the secular world, where you're at work and doing, you feel like when you ask for help that you're accepting defeat, or you're just you're not adequate to do the job, and you're scared that you'll lose your job because, well, if I ask for help, they'll think that I can't do my job. And so all these things are running through their mind, and the best thing you can do is just ask for help, because then when you ask for help and you get the help, it's just going to make you better at what you do.
Yep.
And so as a leader, you want your people to be able to ask for help if they need help. Don't just go through it and say, I've got it and I can do it, because that's going to show up worse in your job, in your life, and it's going to expose so much. Well, why don't you just ask for help? It's just an easy thing. Just ask for help and do it. And now, if you keep asking for the same thing 100 different times, but it's the same exact thing, well, at some point you got to retain it. But I would rather somebody continue to ask for help and continue to ask for that same thing over and over, because at some point they will get it. But you want people to get it, and and most people are scared just to say, "Hey, raise your hand, ask for help. I don't understand. I don't know. Can you explain that again?" Sure. Let's do it.
There's a lot of maturity in knowing when you're going to need help before you get to a place where you desperately need it.
Yeah.
So like imagine like, a sound wave or something, like just kind of going like this. Well, when you're at the top and things are still going okay, but you can kind of see over the edge, like this isn't going to go good, or man, we're going to struggle with some things. Something just happened. Dude, ask for help up here.
Yeah.
Don't wait until you're at wit's end, bottom of the barrel. It can't get any worse. And now you want to look up and stretch your hand out and ask somebody, hey, please, can you give me some help? Dude, you should have done that a year ago, reached out.
Yeah. Well, so think about this, because you said this the other day, and I really loved what you said, because you're good at it. But sometimes it's not the person that needs to ask for help. Maybe they need to, but they don't know they need to ask for help just yet. And it takes a really good leader to listen, to understand that, what I just heard, we need help with, and nobody's asking for the help. Hey, I'm going to raise my hand and say, hey, we need that help. You remember as we were working on the website, redoing things, and you were listening to the conversation, you had everybody in the room to talk about it, and no one asked for it. And you said, hey, whoa, time out.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's ask this. Explain that to me again. And because this is what I'm hearing versus this is what is actually happening. And when you started doing that, all the light bulbs started going off, and everybody, and then you got the clarification. But if you wouldn't have done that, it would have just skated through, and that would have come up another month, 2 months. Who knows if it would have come up? And then when it finally did raise this ugly head, may have been too late. It may have just created a chain of events that would have messed a lot of things up. But
we needed help. We needed help with something.
Yeah.
And one of our partners was presenting, basically said, hey, I know you guys don't manufacture these things, so we don't need to worry about this.
Yeah.
Basically saying, I don't need to help you with these because this isn't important for you.
Yeah.
And when I heard that, I was like, wait a minute. That doesn't quite sound right. I just had this feeling. So you're 100% right. Leaders, you have to listen to what your people are saying, but also listen to what they're not saying and what's not being said, and listen with empathy, because you will pick up on the cues of they're struggling with something, or they need help, or they're unsure, and you can probe a little bit. But you got to create a place of trust and safety, but you can probe a little bit and encourage them to be open and honest about, okay, what's really happening? So that way you can provide them the type of leadership, that they need to get to the next level.
Yeah.
So, all right. This was great. Like, we didn't even plan on talking about this. I got all these notes that we didn't even talk about, but I think, before we talk about what's Wayne wearing, the key takeaway from this episode, I think, is a couple key takeaways. You have to have people in your life who don't just tell you they got your back, but they show you that they support you. Don't believe what people say, believe what people show you. And that goes for the people that work for you, but also the people that you're doing life with. If they're not showing you that they have your back, you got the wrong people. The other thing is, you have to have the confidence to talk about your feelings. Talk about when you need help. Talk about when you're feeling pressure. Talk about when you got to make a tough decision and you just got to talk to somebody. Don't hold that all in. And especially for the guys out there, because I think it's more prevalent with men. We're wired to just do it all ourselves. The takeaway is you got to stop. You have to have someone in your life that you love and trust enough to share with how you're feeling.
Yeah.
Those things alone will really, really put you on a path to a much, much better, healthier, mentally healthier life as well.
Yeah.
So
just got to listen as well. I mean, what we just talked about then is you got to listen. God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth. You listen twice as much as you speak sometimes. And so you got to understand what the person is doing. You got to understand what your team is doing as a leader as well. So
yeah, because I just talked about that from you're the person who needs help. But if you're a leader, and I think a lot of people who are listening to this, all 100 of you are most of you are leaders.
Yeah.
Your people that you are leading are in that position.
Yeah.
They need help, or they are having feelings, issues, and they're not communicating it to you. Be the type of leader that creates an environment where they feel comfortable telling you, but also that you are picking up on those cues. You're reading between the lines. You're not listening for what they say. You're listening for also what they don't say, so that you can be the leader that helps someone to not be the person who comes to work every day feeling a certain way and never gets the opportunity to talk about it or get help.
Yeah, exactly.
Your shirt is ridiculous.
Why is that?
We got here and talked for 5 minutes or 10 minutes before I even realized. And I looked at your shirt. It's like everything I was thinking went out the window. But WWW, what's Wayne wearing? So according to Wayne, you say it. It's so ridiculous. I don't want to say it.
You got to put the cookie jar on the bottom shelf.
And I said, what did I say to you? I said, what does that even mean?
Yeah. So my pastor, when I was growing up in Memphis, Steph and I went to church in Memphis, and going there, my pastor always said, you got to put the cookie jar on the bottom shelf. You got to make it to where everybody can get a cookie. So basically what he's meaning is when you have conversations and when you're a leader and when you do things and when you say stuff, you got to make it to where everybody can understand what you're saying. If you go in and you're all about numbers and you're talking to someone and they start talking algorithms, you're going to be a deer in the headlights, right? You're like, what in the world is he talking about? Mm-hmm. So you got to say it and talk about it in such a way where people will understand. When we talk about profit first, when we talk about culture, talking about needing help, we got to say it in a way where when people are listening, that they understand and they can get what we're saying. We got to articulate it in such a way where it makes it easy to understand. And so sometimes, I'm not 6'10" like some people in this room, where you can put the cookie jar on the top shelf and it still doesn't matter. I'm sure that you've given Landy a hard time at times. Just you need this one up here? This one right here that I'm touching?
You want to hear a funny story?
Sure, go ahead.
So on more than one occasion.
I'm sure on more than one occasion.
I have done it with Oreo cookies. True story. Because I know if it's not Landy, it's somebody else in the house. I know that if I want to save this thing for the next day or whatever, I will put it in the very, very top of the cabinet, all the way in the back.
Where they can't even see it.
Dude, they can't even see it.
Yes.
And then I forget that it's there.
And it's been there for how long?
And then you find it, and it's like a surprise. It's like Christmas.
Yeah. So, ooh, I can't, yes.
Yes, but I 100%, I use my height to my advantage. Wow. There's a lot of emotional intelligence in what you just said, because you have to know the people that you're talking to. You have to know your audience. You have to know the people that you're leading. So you have to be emotionally intelligent enough in your communication to think, the way I'm speaking and the way I'm writing my notes, am I writing it in a way that resonates with me because this is how I think? Or am I writing this in a way that the people who are listening to me, or I'm trying to communicate these ideas to, are truly going to understand? Yeah. It goes right back to this. The single greatest contributor to human success or failure is the ability to adequately communicate feelings to another human being. If you're talking to someone and they're not even hearing what you're saying or understanding because you're not talking on their level.
You're talking over their head, it's like...
Now, that's not just a bad thing, like cookie jar has to be on the bottom shelf, like everyone's below the leader, everyone's... But you could be in an environment where, and I am a lot, I'm just talking to people who are a lot smarter than me.
Yeah. Because I need those people to hey, you need to bring the cookie jar down here because I need to get it.
So I'm constantly telling them, look, you got to dumb it down for me. Please simplify it. Or I'm thinking, okay, they don't think the way I do. I got to try to communicate on their level.
Yeah.
Use words that are meaningful to them. Or I got to tell a story, like a user story that makes sense to them, because if I just say what I need done, they won't get it because I'm not saying it in their language.
Sure.
So it goes both ways. It's not just about the cookie jar's got to be on the bottom shelf. It's like you got to know where the shelf is with somebody.
Yeah. And just speak it plainly and clearly and make it to where people understand. And that's what the whole meeting is about, right? To where when you have that conversation and you talk about it, that you say it in a way and you have that conversation because you know who you're talking to, you know who your audience is. And so you just put it out there. And if it's, some people just get it so easy and it's simple, well, fantastic. That's what you want. But if other people get it that, oh, you know what? I'm understanding what you're saying. It seems a little heavy, but I can understand it. Well, that's exactly what you want. At least they understand what you're talking about.
Yeah. You can't get very far in your career path or growing a business if the people around you don't understand what you're trying to do or what you're trying to say.
100%.
You'll be stuck. That's right.
100%.
100%.
100%.
Hey, if you got this far, thank you. I appreciate you watching or listening. Don't forget, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can also listen to us in your car on Amazon, Apple, or any streaming podcast platform. We really appreciate you. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, all the things. And, hit us up. If you want to talk about anything, we'd love to engage with our people. Or like I said, for the 100 people that are listening, just text me if you need anything. Right?
Exactly.
So, hey, we love you. We appreciate you. And thank you for watching the 3PX show.
Yep. See you next time.